I'm sure, I mean, it seems like it's been coming with the defensive front, but that performance and all the tackles for loss, all the impact plays, like what can just putting that film on do for not just the guys that made those plays, but maybe the whole defense?
Well, it's the build-up too, and it's good to see production because we needed every one of them to win that football game. So, I believe in what we're coaching. I believe in the guys that we're coaching, and we haven't always gotten the results we've wanted, and I'm not even saying we have gotten the results that we've wanted even last Saturday night, but I have seen it, and I've been outwardly bring you guys inside with the unit of showing this is where we are. This is what I see that we've done, and just day by day trying to show this is the direction that I believe that we can go, and just harping on the little things and making sure we're holding them to a standard and using depth and trying to force rotations and trying to motivate, trying to inspire, trying to make the right call, all of it. And, it's good to see him have some success, but we're going to need a lot more of that.
Coach, to see a guy like Edwin come in and have those big moments against Cal, especially what he did after 2 good weeks on special teams, just what do you think that does for him and his confidence?
Well, he earned it because of what he did on special teams and what he's done in his preparation. And, when you start repping, especially with DBs, when you're playing a lot of nickel defense, trying to put these guys in position, there's always the mindset, do you let a younger player focus on one spot and get good at it? Some guys learn better by doing more, and you really got to know the individual, putting them in those opportunities. Some people learn better that way. Maybe it helps their focus. And Edwin was somebody, as he was having success in special teams, I saw the maturity and how he went about his preparation in that role. We started to give him more opportunities in practice, and then he goes out there and picks a ball off and has a sack. And, you felt that last week, too, throughout practice, how it was looking for him. And, he was playing dime in the game as well. So, definitely think there's more to come with Eddie. I do think he's a talented player, and he loves football, and it's starting to show up.
Coach, you mentioned depth earlier. I think at the beginning of the season you said you wanted to play 19 to 20 guys. You ended up playing 26 on Saturday. What are the advantages of playing so many guys, but also is there communication problems that could come with so many different combinations of players?
Yeah, I think we played 27, not including special teams, just on a defensive snap. And it's probably a little bit more than, I don't want to say I wanted, because that's what happened. And we're definitely rotating a lot of different pieces, and some positions we're doing it to try to find the right productivity and to play the right way. Some people we do it because it's the way that we want to do it. And, but it brings, I think our communication is improving. I think the connectedness of the coverage in the front is getting better. It's still not perfect. We gave up a third down just because of one guy saw it one way, the other guy saw it the other way. We paused, hesitated, it's a snap throw on. And when you get those third and mediums, you've got to really be on point. And, so probably a few more, but maybe that happens again. That's probably the most I've ever played in a one-score game. I see it as a benefit because you're giving guys opportunities, but we'll see how the future holds here. But, all the guys that get in the game deserve to get in the game. What those roles look like as we move forward will still be determined. But, that's kind of how that game had to play.
Question on 2-2-year guys. Blake Nicholson, obviously more of a starter role, more reps. How is he doing with that? And then Q got a real opportunity on Saturday and made the most of it. Just how much does his aggressiveness kind of transcend from practice to the game?
Yeah, Blake's kind of, I don't want to say solidified, but, he's up there in rep count at linebacker, if not the highest. I think he was the highest this last Saturday. He's been trending that way. His production was probably the best he's had in Cal game. I'm still looking for those game-changing plays that I know are in him. And some of those are opportunities. I don't want to be but I just know there's so much in him from athleticism and football and just the investment of reps and him seeing things, and we're trying to get all that stuff squished into practice, but he is learning on the fly some of the game, and I do think he's constantly growing and getting better. So, I like where Blake's at. I think we'll even get more from him, as games go on. That usually, hopefully, it happens with all players, but especially the ones that are new to the field at our level. Quinn was somebody we went into the season. We put him in a special teams role, and he was going to be our third corner. He was going to play. The first game, the snaps were so low in the rep count. It never worked that way. And we got him in, I think, at the BC game. He played in the Memphis game. And the thing at corner is, when they go at you 2 times in a series and he makes both plays, and they come back on a third down, he makes the play on a group, everybody sees it, right? And it's front and center. And those are incredibly important plays. They were critical. I mean, he was 3 for 3 and make a play grade in a 1-score game, and all in match coverage. And so, proud of him. Me and him just got done meeting just a few minutes ago, and he's very focused on the things that he needs to continue to do so that he shines in those moments. And excited about the progress he's made, but it's something we believed in.
I think you spoke a little bit about him last week, and that was Josh Farmer getting more comfortable and continued again. Is that just him getting further from the injuries, or a sense of urgency? What's attributing to the ascension that we're seeing?
Well, I would say it's playing football. He obviously had to miss the bowl game, and then he had to miss spring. And the first time he used his punching physically was really probably the second week of fall camp. And then you're trying to come back from it, and you think you can play the way you want to play. And there were moments where he'd look at me and say, I feel good, but then, it'd be a tweak here, a tweak there, and then, all of a sudden now the offensive linemen start moving at a different pace, and your hand. So, I mean, he had to get back to playing the way he needed to play, and, I wish it happened sooner for him, but it wasn't because he just made a decision that he didn't want to do it, but I think we're seeing it. I mean, he's a dominant defensive tackle when he plays with the right technique in the pad level, and a lot of that had to do with him just getting himself right with his hands, and I think we're starting to see that because he had a dominant performance Saturday. His one-on-one grades were really good. I'm sure the guy he was going against got a bunch of minuses.
You've talked about not enough advantageous third downs. I think you saw the advantageous, and it showed up in the sack numbers, obviously, specifically with Marvin and how he finished that game. How encouraging was seeing that, where you haven't seen enough of that, and some of that's situational. And when he's playing like he was in that final series, what's that do for the defense as a whole?
Well, advantageous means like a long yardage?
Yeah.
Okay. It was good to be in those situations, right? We've been trying to do it, and you only get in those situations if you stop the run game, right? And we're getting better at that. We'll be really tested this week. But when you get whatever it was, 7, 6 sacks, usually with how we play defense, some of it was pressure oriented from calling certain pressures. Some of it was just guys winning one-on-ones. And if you're going to be really good and you're going to play great defense, your guys have to be able to rush the passer in just rush situations where you're not twisting and moving. And, you got to go win some one-on-ones. And we try to recruit that way. Marv had production, but I saw the production 6 months ago, on the practice field, and knew it was going to be there, but it just hasn't been. And as a coach, you can't panic, you can't change. You just need to emphasize the things to help them get there. And we've tried to do that. And regardless of success or failure, you've got to keep maybe finding a new way to say it, a new way to introduce it, a new drill, a new way to, talk and make sure that their mindset and they believe in themselves. And, it was good to see Marv, have success. I know he was as frustrated about the couple sacks that he missed as he was excited about the ones he made. I think he was more relieved, which I hate that for him because I want him to enjoy everything about this wonderful game. But he's a very talented player. He does care about this football team, and he wants to have success. And it was good to see him have some.
Coach, seeing how you're getting to the quarterback and providing them pressure, but now what's going to be the ice on the cake of trying to get more turnovers to basically have that basically connect with the pass rushing. But how much is going to be great to have more turnovers? What's going to be a challenge for that?
Well, the offense turns the ball over. We take it away, right? So there's sort of a way to how we try to – we haven't done a good job of taking it away. Now, some of that, I mean, the ball's been on the ground, and we forced some fumbles, not enough, but the ball has been on the ground sometimes in the first couple games, and we haven't been able to get on it. And so we need to do a better job with that. You know, Marv had the strip sack, and – you know, the ball was on the ground for 2 or 3 seconds rolling around. We couldn't jump on it, and we need to. But, you know, obviously we want to get more takeaways, and we're trying to, and hopefully that shows up this Saturday.
Coach, there's 3 drives. They had 15-play drive, 10-play drive, 13-play drive. They didn't get any points. Part of that's because their kicker wasn't Adam Vinatieri, but is there anything about the field gets shorter and then you guys are able to perform better, or is it just talent winning out? You guys are better than them up front, and that kind of shows out over the course of a 8, 9, 10-play drive?
Yeah, long drives are bad, right? And usually that comes down to probably a third down stop. There was a big play, here or there, but really proud of the red zone defense because it hasn't been there. And so to keep a team out of the end zone for 60 minutes is a big deal. And, to hold them to field goal attempts, JP's got the numbers, you could probably ask him, but somehow, some way, the field goal attempts against us over the last couple of years, the percentage of makes have been pretty low. And I think our guys do a good job of rushing and forcing kicks, and again, you get credit when somebody bats the ball down and you beat LSU because everybody sees it. What you don't get credit for in general is when you have 6 hands 3 inches from the ball and he yanks it right or left. And we try to sell that to our guys as a statement that, that kid kicking the ball feels that. And so, JP will have a little bit more insight on the numbers of all that, but I think it's important. So, yeah, we're not baiting guys in a long drive so we can stop them in the red zone. But if they happen to get down there, line up the field goal unit. That's what we're trying to get done. So, and they did a good job. No touchdowns in the red zone, no touchdowns in general. That usually bodes well to winning the football game.
You talked already about playing 27 guys. I think Shaheem still played a lot, but I think he played 50 plays. And there were parts in the fourth quarter where he's probably your most experienced defender on the field, and he's on the sideline with other guys in there. Is that a concerted effort? Like, we've got to get young guys ready to play. We want them to play. How much of that is them earning that playing time, and how much of that is you just pushing playing time upon them to get ready for the rest of the season and the rest of their careers?
Yeah, really good question because of the noticing of the rotations and all that stuff, Corey. That's good. One-score games, all we're trying to do is get the right guys in there at that moment. Honestly, I mean, there was even a series we put Ashland Barker and Devontae together. We played 5 safeties in the game. And so you guys have been with me. There's been times that we've had a safety play 77 plays in a game, and they don't come off the field. And so I'm for both of those scenarios as long as we're playing really good, and I'm working towards that.
Two-parter. One as a follow-up to my question on Josh earlier. Like, when one of your best players put a dominant performance together, like, what kind of trickle-down effect does it have? And then the other question was on Pat Payton, and he talked about running to the ball more. Did you see that, and kind of impact can that have when one of your better players is putting that level of effort? Yeah,
trickle down from obviously your first one with Josh having a really good performance. I mean, that inspires guys, but I think the most important thing is the other 6 days of the week. And, if you have a gamer and he shows up in the game and he plays really well, I mean, that carries some weight because it'll go on the highlight film and guys will get excited, but that won't last very long. And when a guy does it right for 6 days a week and then he goes and has those days on Saturday, those are program changers. That's what changes programs. That's what changes the mindset of teams. And, I think Josh has silently gone to work, and it's really good that he's getting production. And, but that's the message to him, and that's the message to the entire team. Running the ball is not something that, we're losing, let's run the ball now. But it's got to be the way you play. And, I've been very direct in showing this is not what it looks like, and this is what it looks like. And, it's never going to be 100% to one end of perfection. But I will tell you, this week there were a lot of clips that I showed, and there were great effort clips in practice. And, there were also some clips that I showed from Saturday night where we had 11 people around one ball carrier, and we were the only 11 people in the picture besides him. And those are really good clips. We're trying to earn more of those clips.
What is it that Rhett Lashley's doing with that offense and the personnel he's currently using that will give you guys a challenge as a defense?
They had a really good year last year. They've had a good year this year. They run the football. They've made a change at quarterback here, sounds like permanently since the BYU game. And, he brings some problems because he's an athlete that wants to get out of the pocket and run around and throw guys open. And if he doesn't, he's going to keep the ball and run around. And, Coach Lashley's been really successful calling offensive plays for a number of years. We've competed against them throughout my career at all different places that I've been. He didn't become a head coach because he calls bad plays, so he's done a nice job. And SMU's, been really good on offense. But it starts because they've been able to run the football. And when you can run the ball and throw enough screens to keep people honest, then downfield pass game's going to show up. And I don't want to simplify it, but they're going to run the football until they feel like you're playing the run, and they're going to take their shots down the football field. And obviously it's not that simple, but that's kind of how their game plays. And it's been good enough for them to score 66 points last week.
There was a play, I think, on their second to last drive where if the quarterback escapes the pocket, he's probably running into the end zone. And Patrick makes a diving, saving, probably a TD saving, maybe a game-saving tackle late in the fourth quarter on a hot night. I guess what does that say about his effort? Defensive ends want to crush quarterbacks. They don't want to just trip them up by the shoestrings. But what does that say about his effort in that moment to do everything he could to try to get that kid on the ground?
Yeah, that play and the importance of it, I know they're different games, but it reminded me of the play he made in the Clemson game on a quarterback run when he came out of a pressure and made a shoestring tackle to basically save the game too. He's got really good instincts. He played really hard through that play, laid out, gave us everything he could, and that's what big-time players need to do. They need to show up in those games, those moments, and he did. But that was an enormous play because it was one of those, it's going to be a sack. Wait, there's space, and it's a backyard play, and, guys got to stand up. And Patrick did, and he laid out and made a big-time play on that one that gave us another chance to win the game. Thanks, guys. See y'all.